Someone in the chat just said, please, for the love of God, get to the wormhole part. So, so I will take direction from Fernmatic and get to the wormhole part. So for the people that are watching that are like unclear, wormhole is built by Jump. Is that correct?
So we're one of the biggest contributors to wormhole, definitely. So Certus One was a company that we acquired like sometime last year. Yep. They built version 1 of the wormhole as a Solana hackathon project. And it was initially conceived as this Solana Ethereum and asset bridge. And once we brought them in-house, and those guys are like amazing. They're some of the best engineers in the space.
Kobe, did we judge that hackathon?
Yeah, I picked this as the winner.
Oh yeah, me too.
I actually didn't do anything for any of the hackathons. I just put my picture on there and then didn't send me any information.
Same. I think I've gotten kicked off now.
Yeah, me too.
So we brought the Certus guys in, and once they came in, we kind of like conceived of wormhole as this, wormhole V2 as this like far more powerful, expressive, generic solution. And so wormhole as it exists today, connects about 7 chains right now, and it enables like the movement of all kinds of information, right? So it's not only assets, it's like NFTs, Oracle data, governance information, contract calls, you name it, right? And so it's just meant to be like a protocol to facilitate cross-chain movement of information. And so from day one, it's been like governed by these 19 guardians, of which we are one. And you have to have a supermajority to create any action on the bridge. You need a supermajority to upgrade stuff, which of course had implications while the vulnerability was, kind of being worked on. And so, we were a big part of conceiving, a lot of the design, a lot of the ideas, but there's really a number of folks that have been committing. So a number of the layer ones that committed, have written code for this stuff and given ideas on design and code reviews. And there's other people hosting the front ends and integrating assets and all those kinds of things.
It might be like epicaricistic to ask this, or like voyeuristic or something. And I just kind of want to know what it was like as it was happening in real time. Because like sometimes you get a message and like a bad text and you're like, oh, for fuck's sake, that's not great. But this is like $300 million is gone.
That's right.
Like, what's it like to receive that message, and what is it like to like have a team operate? Like it needs to be like operating at a high level, like a at their best when something so stressful is happening.
100%, man. So one of our devs like noticed like there was a discrepancy in ETH balances, and he was like, "Hey guys, something's looking wrong," and he just put a bunch of people into Zoom. I joined like maybe like 6-7 minutes late, and you never join one of these things expecting you're going to be out 120k ETH, but you came on, and we started to pull in all the audit firms, the security guys, other engineers in the space, and quickly kind of came to the conclusion that there had been a vulnerability, been exploited to the tune of 120k ETH, and it's like a serious punch in the gut, right? Like like SIDS, you can kind of feel a bit of the silence on the call, but it was insane, man. Like everyone switched into problem solving mode so quickly. So quickly. The devs were instantly like looking to assess the exact scale of the vulnerability and what the potential damage could be. Compliance guys were on with the exchanges, stablecoin providers trying to get those to shut down. Community managers were on with everyone on Discord and Telegram, trying to communicate things. And then we of course had a decision to make on what we do with the funds. And we're in like Miami right now on this offsite, and thankfully we had a bunch of like the decision makers in the room, and so quickly made the decision that we had to do this. It's never ever easy to make that kind of decision, but it was like we'd like game played of some of the stuff out ahead of time, and you're like one of these like ultra high conviction projects of ours like is under duress, like are we going to step in? And we committed to that ahead of time, which makes it easier to do this, but it's never easy. And so we made the decision. I want to say like 8 minutes after I joined the call, like we knew exactly what the vulnerability was and what the scope of the damage was. And a couple hours in, after having reviewed, tested, audited, the patch was in, and like 18 hours end to end, the bridge was back up, the funds were back in, the site was back up, and we were just kind of educating the community and working on that kind of thing. And so not one like finger was pointed, no one blamed anyone, no one said anything. It was awesome, man. Like, you never look back on losing $300+ million fondly, but like they definitely feel like amazingly proud of the team. Like it was an incredible response. And so yeah, man, it's definitely been a hell of a week.
So did you get to be like, we'll cover it, don't worry? Did you get to, everyone sat there really stressed, like, oh god, and then you're like, no, we got it, don't worry.
Feature of the
and everyone
president.
instantly lighted up, yeah. President says we got it.
Yeah. We were talking about like how do we like what messaging are we going to put out? We sent a message out to the hacker on chain, saying like, there's a 10 million bounty, like get the funds back. And a couple of people in the chat are like, what should the number be? I'm like, what about just like start buying all this fucking ETH? Like just tell them like, the $10 million is fine. Like don't haggle for this one right now. And so it was a lot of those kinds of emotions, but obviously it was a team decision, and we had a bunch of people around and we talked about it. It was made in like less than a couple of minutes at most. But
wait, so you had to buy the ETH? You didn't own it? You didn't have it in a wallet lying around?
Well,
we need to buy this ETH right now.
Well, yeah, it was, it's all fungible. But like we did buy more ETH. Like the ETH that we have, we want
stolen. Sorry, I don't mean that in like a funny way. It's just ironic. You got to buy more ETH to pay for the ETH that was stolen.
Yeah.
Brutal.
And that's where having a global trading operation helps. We were able to buy that size, in fairly quick fashion without any crazy impact. And so then had the funds ready to put it back in.
And have you ever heard from the hacker? They never got back to you. They just started buying NFTs.
Yeah, they haven't started buying NFTs or replied to us yet. So
they just done nothing.
Yeah, I mean, there's like been some movement. There's a bunch of investigations going on. Like we're working obviously with the government, with private investigators, community. Like people have reached out, tried to offer information. We have like a $10 million bounty out for any information leading to the recovery of the funds. And so, yeah, really hoping for like a motivated community response. Obviously, we're very well versed with like on-chain forensics and, all those kinds of things ourselves. And so trying to do everything we possibly can. Very, very motivated to get it back.
It's interesting that like this happened and like a week later, the stolen Bitcoin from Bitfinex is like the people are like found and captured and like it's like, if I was the hacker that stole the 300 million, which I'm not, if I was, I'd accept the 10 mil to get it back right now. It'd be a good episode, wouldn't it? Yeah. I'll give you it back, hooray!
I was a white hat all along. I saved you from this vulnerability.
But yeah, they must be like, that 10 mil looks more attractive when you see some people potentially going to jail for 20 years.
Or maybe they're just checking their Google Docs to make sure they didn't paste the private keys in there.
Yeah, maybe it's the same people. And then like is after that happens, is it just like back to normal? Like are the teams like just back to shipping and meetings go back to like business as usual, or is there a different tone that follows?
Well, it was a couple of days of pretty intense stress, right? Like people haven't slept. It's been like 24 hours. Like it's 18 hours end to end to like bring the bridge back up, and so no one slept. And then you're trying to like spend the whole next day like bringing all the other services back up, making sure you're covering up the vulnerabilities. You're talking about what happened. A large part of the team that doesn't focus on wormhole was business as usual. There was like a couple of days of like, what happened, and everyone kind of wants to know. But yeah, the rest of the team really clicked back in, and then after 2 days of sleep, Monday was back to shipping for sure. And so yeah, the team's like just full bore ahead. We've obviously got a couple of people focused on the investigation, but apart from that, yeah, back to business.
If any team members leave very suddenly and like start living a lavish life, is that why your investigations focus? Like, did you see Dave has just like moved to the Maldives? Like, he just lives on an island now.
Yeah.
I have a question about the governmental response to these things, because if somebody walks in a bank, robs a bank for 300 million of like gold bars or something, it's everywhere. It's huge. It's like it'd be the only story on the news. And this stuff happens in crypto, and it's not always 300+ million, but it's 30 million here and 10 million there and 50 million there, and it's almost like you don't hear about it. So what is their interest in criminal activity where they're like crypto-centric companies are the victims of this, or individuals, and what's the process been like working with authorities?
Yeah, I think they've been like highly supportive. They've been working on like digital asset crimes for like a while now. Obviously they've done a whole bunch of busts, Bitfinex being the most recent one, and so they're pretty motivated to help. Like I don't think the attitude has been in the slightest that this is like out of our purview and like kind of sort it out yourself. Like they're very motivated to help. Um, and yeah, I mean, like I I haven't been on the other side of this when on normal crimes. This is one of my first interactions with one of these things. So I couldn't tell you how different it is, but it seems like it's the right approach.
You weren't in Die Hard 3 or whichever one. Yeah,
Die Hard 3. The sequels to Die Hard.
Come on, there's so many Die Hards. Don't you watch the Christmas marathons?
I've seen Die Hard, but I haven't seen a sequel to Die Hard.
Oh, you're Kobe.
Sorry.
You've gathered many internet points, but you lost some amongst a loyal crowd there. Anyway.
Only